So anyway, without further ado, let me introduce Chad. John C. Maxwell's philosophies have steered his leadership journey for the past 15 years. It has led him to the destination of the John Maxwell team. Prior to Chad's joining the team, he spent 20 years in various leadership positions training and developing leaders for a Fortune 100 company. Chad has personally used these tools to enhance his own productivity, development, and decision-making skills while creating a better balanced lifestyle in his home and with his wife and 2 sons, community, and career. In his book, John Maxwell's book, The Success Journey, he states, "Success is knowing your purpose in life, growing to reach your maximum potential, and sowing seeds that benefit others. Leadership is a journey. In order to reach success, we must enjoy the process of our growth and development. Leading moment to moment will enable us to reach our goals in these leadership destinations." So, without further ado, Chad,
I don't know that yeah, you can go ahead. I'll take that. Do we really think that we need the microphone for this, or no? I don't think so either. We'll keep the one on for the lapel, but I'll turn that one off. How do you feel about that? Can you, Silvana, you trust that I'll be able to talk loud?
I trust you.
We'll take that off. I don't actually think that I'll need that. Can you hear me back there okay? Can you hear me back there? Oh, you're back by the cookies already. I understand that. Tom, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I always like the opportunity to come to Elmbrook. I'm originally from Texas and I moved here 15 years ago. I live here in Brookfield. My first collegiate career, I studied theater, so therefore the voice, hopefully you can hear it. Performed across the nation, doing a lot of shows. Actually, when I first moved to Brookfield and married my wife, we came to Elmbrook Church. And what was so interesting about it was things like this. The career crossroads, and I've had a chance to come here and be a part of one of these. And you're here with something special, so please know that. The last time that I've been at Elmbrook was at the No Regrets Conference, I believe. And those of you that know who Stuart Briscoe is, I had a chance to introduce him to my brother-in-law. And Stuart was preaching that morning, and I had a chance to go down and see him, and I said, "Oh, Stuart, I don't know if you remember me, but years ago when I first moved here from Texas, I did a show with your wife, Jill. And I was the sound effect guy, and I played the donkey, where I had to do the ee-honk, ee-honk." And he asked me before I did that and made a fool out of myself. He said in his really British upper crust way, he said, "So which part of the donkey were you? Were you the front end or the back end?" And I said, "Stuart, you know your wife. You do whatever Jill tells you to do." And I played the front end. So that was my brother-in-law's introduction to Stuart. So, and we're recording this, so Stuart, if you see that, I just sold you out to all these people. So, but that was the last time that I've been here at Elmbrook. My grandmother is in town from Arkansas. I'm really excited to have her. We'll talk a little bit about how she played a role in my life. But she's actually coming to church on Saturday night, so I'm really excited to have her here Saturday. So today matters. That's what we're going to talk about. You have a handout that turned out to be pretty big, so hopefully you'll be able to see that. But flip it over. Flip it over on the back side where it says notes. I want you to think about it. We talk about decisions. And right now, you're encountered with a lot of decisions. We had a chance to hear Bob speak today about some of the decisions that he's going through in the life and the challenges that he's going through. And through that, we make decisions. And we're going to talk about that. So take some time right now and talk about some of the top decisions that you have to make. And feel free to talk amongst yourself at the table. But write down maybe 3 or 4 decisions that impact you daily. Like right now, what are some of the major decisions that you're dealing with or that you have to decide on? And it can be anything. It's a little different, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'll give you a couple more minutes. Go ahead and talk amongst your tables about some of the things that you have on there. There's some really, really interesting statements on there, and we're going to have an opportunity to talk about a couple of those through the presentation tonight. Silvana, will you get us started off at your table, or Bob, if you have a couple? I see that you've been writing quite a bit there. Sometimes they are simple.
One of the ones for me is just deciding how to balance the work life and the time that I spend with the family versus at work. That's kind of a daily decision for me on how much time I spend at work versus how much time I devote to the family. And another one is deciding how to spend our money on a daily basis. Are we saving?
Girl, boy, girl. And the girls seem to be stable, but the boy is the challenge.
Here or there? No, and they're here. Okay, so just about 5 minutes. In fact, they're coming for lunch sometime. So, you know, that's kind of a big thing that impacts me every day.
Mike, what do you got?
Whether or not to get out of teaching as a career, whether or not to move away from home, for other potential careers that I have in mind, where to start in seeking God's will and finding the right career.
You got anything?
Well, just, I'm working right now, so it might be a little bit different, but just, your attitude through the day. Sometimes you realize, okay, my attitude is not really helping things. And, to consciously, try to choose to not, how you deal with your frustrations.
Okay, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
What do you got, Terry?
Yeah, I mean, these are kind of, it's just use of my time.
Sure.
I started a business and how I market, how much time I spend on marketing and emails and calls and the different use of my time and how I spend money on my business.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's been that's pretty popular around the tables. All right, well, thank you. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Hopefully you had a chance to be able to talk with each other. Did you want to take one more?
Yeah, let's take
One more. Anybody have one? Barbara, you got one for us?
I actually work with the prayer, and I'm going to be retiring next month, so I'm looking at downsizing and time management.
Wow, time management seems to be very popular at every table.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a lot about that
And
tonight.
what God wants me to do in ministry after retirement.
Yeah, we're going to talk about faith too. So, hey, it looks like I picked the right topic. Catherine, what was yours, Catherine?
Just realizing when my attitude is not being helpful.
Attitude is not being helpful. What about at this table? Anybody have one here? Bob, you want to share one with us?
Yeah, decision not to worry as much as I have at times.
Whew, man, right? We're going to talk about that as well. Tom, what did you guys, what was the conclusion over here?
I like the how to spend my money.
How to spend my money. We heard that one over there. Terry, is it Terry? Yeah, Terry talked about the same thing with his business. All right, so exactly. Now flip it over and take a look at the big words on the front page. Is there anything that you talked about that matches that particular page? And Catherine's running out. The first one we're going to talk about is attitude. So look at that. She talked about attitude without seeing it, and that was the one that she talked about. Does any of them match? A little bit about what we're going to talk about? All right, so let's talk about Today Matters. So here's the situation with Today Matters. Dr. John C. Maxwell. And first, has anyone heard of Dr. John C. Maxwell? A couple of you here. If you have a chance, the library here at Elmbrook has almost every book that he's written, and he's written over 62 books. He sold over 21 million copies. I had the opportunity to become a certified founding partner with the John C. Maxwell team, and what that is there's 1,400 of us worldwide out of over 50-something different countries, and we all came together and we were certified and we were able to spend some time with him, and this allows me the opportunity to go out and teach his programs. I have the backing and the credibility to be able to say that John Maxwell is a mentor and a friend of mine, and I did have a chance to spend some time, and when we were with him in Pensacola, Florida, he would invite everyone to come to his house, and we actually had a man come to faith at his house and was baptized in his pool. They were supposed to be there having fun, but he baptized him right there in the pool. He does have a cool pool that has speakers underneath it, so when he swims, that he can hear all that. But one of the books he wrote was called Today Matters, and we're going to talk about that today. He also wrote the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Everyone communicates, few connect. How to become a real success. I know we heard a little bit about that today, that you have that opportunity here at Elmbrook to become a real success. I don't know that that's the same thing, but it's part of probably the same mentality or cut from the same leadership style as that. So he's a well-known speaker, and I'm so excited to be here to be able to talk about it today. So today matters. Every day matters. Every single day matters. Yesterday's over. Today is new. So you have the opportunity to do something today that you didn't do yesterday, that maybe you had the regrets. I'll tell you, September the 7th, 1997, that day mattered for me because that was the day that I married my wife. And I guarantee you there's a lot of decisions that I have to make based upon that particular day. There were a lot of decisions that I make that I didn't even know I was going to make until that day. Those of you that are married can understand. There's a lot of decisions that are made for me based upon being married. May 29th, 1999, that was another day that was decided for me, and that was the day that my son, Harrison, was born, who's now 13, and who I have to make a lot of decisions for, and I have to teach him how to make his own decisions. And then, obviously, April the 22nd, that is another day of 2000, and that was the day my son, Jack, was born. Obviously, September the 11th mattered for all of us because there was a lot of decisions that were made for us that day. I think the biggest day, besides all those, was probably September the 20th of this last year. And that was the day that my leader, my spiritual warrior, that my mentor, my grandfather, passed away. And he was a man that if I had anything that I needed to talk about, if I needed prayer, if I needed help making a decision, I called Papa. And Papa was always there. Papa was the man that you wanted to be like. Papa was the one that you wanted to impress. So he helped me make decisions along the way. Now, he can help me make those decisions, but how you manage those decisions, that's what we're going to learn about today. So, Catherine, first one up, we're going to talk a little bit about decisions and discipline. So, you make the decision. You make a decision, but you have to have the discipline to manage it. So, what is a decision? Definition is a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration. The action or a process of deciding something or of resolving a question. Now, discipline is the management of that decision. So let's take a look at that definition. The practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior, using punishment to correct the disobedience. Now, we all make decisions, we all have choices. Now, with those choices, we either have good consequences or we have bad consequences. And one of the things I like to say is, now the decision I'm about to make in my life, or in my work, or within my family, or within my place of worship. Mike, I think you brought that up, right? It was about where am I going to worship at, or what am I going to do? One of us at that table brought that up. Thank you. So the decision I'm about to make, is it in the best interest for my family? Is it in the best interest of my career? Is it in the best interest for the future of my finances? So we have to really make those decisions and be able to manage those decisions. Now, what John is going to teach us through the 12 steps that we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about how he took those decisions, and he still, from the time that he was 20 to the time that he was 30, 40, and 50, and 60, he made decisions. So when he was faced with these challenges on his decisions, he already knew the answer to those. So the quicker that you can take a look at what you wrote down, and you can see what you wrote, go ahead and make that decision. You know the values and your priorities, and we're going to talk about those. So when you're confronted with that decision, you already know the answer, and hopefully we're going to give you the skill sets in order to manage that. So Catherine, first one up. The making of a masterpiece. A good decision minus daily discipline is a plan without a payoff. That doesn't sound very good, right? I've worked this hard. I've made this decision, but I'm not managing it, so there's really no payoff. I've made the decision, but I don't see the benefits from it. Daily discipline minus good decisions equals the regiment without a reward. A good decision and a daily discipline is a masterpiece of potential. I'll give you a chance to write those down. Good decisions minus daily discipline equals a plan without a payoff. Daily discipline minus good decisions equals regiment without reward. Who wants to work out? Who wants to do something tough and not see the reward of the benefits? Good decisions plus daily discipline equals what we're all looking for. A masterpiece of potential. Catherine, I've said your name 3 times. There it is, attitude. So making the decision to choose and display the right attitude daily. If you take a look at the bottom, you can fill in the blank. Here's your participatory. Attitude. You choose and display the right attitude daily. So you choose and display the right attitude daily. Some of these are going to be pretty simplistic for you. These were what John decided on. I'm going to talk a little bit about what he did with these and then also what I do with them. But you think about it. If this pertains to you, then think about, when did I make this decision about my attitude? How do I manage my attitude daily? And then what do I need to work on in order to improve my attitude? And I can't give you the answers on that, Catherine. That's something that you have to be able to decipher for yourself. But we'll talk a little bit about some of the skill sets of what you can do and what John did on all these points. So here we go. Responsibility for your actions. We're all responsible for our actions. It's not, my son doesn't make me mad. My wife doesn't make me mad. I'm responsible for how I react. And the quicker that I choose of how I'm going to respond to that, the better the outcome is going to be. So you're responsible for your actions. Decide to change your bad attitude areas. Well, that's kind of tough. You take a look at yourself and you go, I don't have any bad attitude areas. We all have bad attitude areas. You have to be honest with yourself. Why do you have your bad attitude? And it's not someone else that's causing your bad attitude. You get to choose how you decide you're going to react to it. It has nothing to do with someone else. It's all based on you. Yes, circumstances create bad attitudes, but you can change your circumstances. You can either confront, you can walk away, you can sit there and you can take it, but you get to decide. Think, act, talk, conduct yourself like the person you want to become. What is the person that you want to become? Who do you want to be? You can be anything that you want to be, even in this time right now. And that's what's so great about this. You're here right now and you're going through struggles. I've heard some of you don't have a job. I heard some of you are talking about a career transition. You're going to get a great opportunity to meet with all these mentors and sit at this table, and they're going to help you through these. But right now, you get to decide. How great is this? You're here. We happy few, you're here. You're making a decision to be here today because you get to decide. You get to act, or you get to conduct yourself like the person you want to be. You're here to help yourself. So place a high value on people. This is one of my favorite ones. I work in an industry where I deal with a lot of people every single day. And there's a lot of people that I may not like or that we may not get along, but I place value on those individuals. Placing value, I look at you and I go, you know what, Bob, you're a 10. You're a 10. Savannah, I know you. You're about a 5.5. No, you're not, Savannah. You know you're a 10 plus. Savannah, I know very well. But she's a 10. I look at her and she's a 10. I look around, I don't know any of you, but it's how I deal with you because I place value on you. You're going to be able to teach me something. I'm going to learn something from you today that I'm going to be able to take back, and I'm going to be able to share with the next individuals that I talk to because I place value because you're a God-given human being. You are made by God. You have potential. You have to know that you have value in order to place value on others. Develop a high appreciation for life. Hey, that's what we're all here for. I love the whole saying. How many? All of us are pretty much. There's not too many of us in here that are too young that won't understand this reference. If you remember Pac-Man, where you played that game, you put your quarter in. It was a quarter, right? And all that thing did was go around a maze, and you had to chase. These ghosts were chasing you, and you had to eat all these little dots. That was the coolest game in the world. And if I could get a quarter and walk down or ride my bike down in Texas and sit there and place my quarter on there to say, hey, I'm next. Because there was always somebody that had 5 of them lined up. But you get 1 quarter, right? And you play this game, and after that quarter's over and your 3 lives are over, it's over. I still like to say this, but right now it'd probably cost you 50 cents. And if you take your kids down to these other ones, it's like $1 in order to play these games. All of a sudden you get into the game and you're wearing stuff. I don't even get it. You know, the kids are playing Wii, they're throwing stuff. I don't know how many of those I've bought. But with that particular game, you got 1 quarter. So I still say this. And in life, you get 1 quarter. How are you going to spend it? How are you going to spend it? How are you going to spend your quarter? You got to develop a high appreciation for life. You have to go after the things that you want to go after because it's up to you. Nobody else is going to give it to you. All right, so managing the discipline of the attitude. Recognize your attitude needs daily adjustment. Find something positive in everything. Find someone positive in every situation. Say something positive in every conversation and remove negative words from your vocabulary. Express gratitude towards others daily. I'm having a lot of fun and I'm seeing the clock out of the side of my eye. So I'm going to talk about 2 things in here. Find someone positive in every situation. Key in on that one. You get into a room and you can feel the vibe. And you know that that individual is not going to be able to add value to you because they don't want to. You can either choose to go up to them and have that conversation and look for something within that conversation that they're going to be able to add value to you. So find someone that's going to be positive because it's very difficult. Right now, it's very difficult what you're going through, but you're here with positive individuals because the person next to you may be going through the same thing that you're going through. Find positive meaning why you're together. Talk to each other, listen to each other. When you get into your networking groups, they're going to be able to help you out with that as well. Express gratitude towards others daily. This is something I don't think we do. We get so caught up in our own worlds and our own lives that we don't express that gratitude. We become selfish. We're hurt. We're sinful, right? But sometimes you got to find the individuals and express gratitude to those other individuals because you don't know what's going on in their world. You don't know what's going on in their shoes. They could be going through the same thing that you're going through. I know you're all trying to write these down, and I'll try to leave it up there for one more second. Every day, I will make the adjustments necessary to keep my attitude right. So we talked about the decision. In order to manage it, every day I will make the adjustments necessary to keep my attitude right. You have to make the adjustments. You have to respond to what happened throughout the day and how you can change it for tomorrow. Make that decision today. Managing the decision to determine and act on important priorities daily. So priorities is the next one. Priorities. Determine and act on important priorities daily. So if you're flipping it back over and you're taking a look at it, we're determined and act on important priorities daily. Here's the thing we're going to talk about in this one. So we take back today. Today is a new day. You're here. Today is the day that you seize. I know that's kind of cliche, but today's the only day that you got. Tomorrow's not here tomorrow. It's not promised to you. So what are you going to do today to take today back? You came here today, and that's why you're here. Ask yourself 3 questions. What is required of me? What gives me the greatest return? What gives me the greatest reward? So really ask yourself, what's required of me throughout my priorities? If I'm a husband, what is required of me? What do I have to do? Is it taking the trash out on Thursdays? Is it picking the kids up? What is required of you? What gives you the greatest return? Now here's what you should be focusing on. So you want to spend your priorities, and you want to make the decision on your priorities based on what gives you the greatest return. If it's not giving you the return, then it shouldn't be a priority. What gives me the greatest reward? So what do I get out of it? When I make this decision, what do I get? And is that more for you, or is that more for the family unit? What gives you that reward based upon your priority? That's where you should be spending your time. So here's a way that you can stay in your strength zone. Trial and error. We all go through that, right? You try it, it works, it doesn't work. So that's one way. The counsel of others. Sitting around tonight, you're going to get counsel. You're going to get great counsel. Individuals are going to be able to help you through what you're trying to go through. Personality tests, those are always fun. I think I'm supposed to be like some kind of computer data guy. I really don't know, but I didn't do that. And personal experience. You know what your strengths are. You know what your weaknesses are. Stay focused on the strengths, and then 10% on the weaknesses. Where are you going to get your return? So managing the discipline of the priorities. Evaluate your priorities daily. Plan your time carefully. Follow your plan. Delegate whenever possible. And invest in the right people. Value to the team, their natural ability, responsibility, timing, potential, and mentor fit. So that's how John's going to manage the discipline of his priorities. So one of the things that I like about this is evaluate priorities daily. You need to sit down and decipher, was this the priority that I needed to be at today? Or did I follow my priorities? Maybe you didn't even follow the priorities that you've already made the decision on. You went off on a different path. So reevaluating every single day. Follow your plan. If you have the plan, and you know what the plan is, then follow it. You're going to be able to adjust to it if you need to, if you come to a crossroads and you have to make another decision, but stick with the plan that you've set forth for you, your family unit, and where does God play a part in that plan? Prayer. Seeking wisdom. Invest in the right people. You start looking at it, who adds value to the team? My mother-in-law, she adds value to my team every single day. So I'm going to invest time into her, right? She's one of my priorities. I want to make sure the mother-in-law is taken care of. The wife, she values to the team more than you can imagine. Responsibility. What are your responsibilities within your priorities? You have to make that decision. Where is my responsibility within the priority? So every day I will live my life according to my priorities. Health. Is that the next one? Know and follow healthy guidelines daily. Making the decision to know and follow healthy guidelines daily. The reason why John talked about this was in the 60s, when he was 60 years old, he had a company party. And he was out celebrating the year. He was with his friends, and all of a sudden he started getting some chest pains. And then all of a sudden he had a heart attack. So in the middle of the night, he was rushed away from his party, and he was in the hospital, and they flew in the best surgeons because it's John C. Maxwell. A team came in, and they took care of him. So this is the reason why he talked about the health. For me, what is really interesting about the health, when I was 17 years old, I weighed 190 pounds. I was in Texas high school football. I was an all-district center. I was captain of my football team. I came back from a theater camp, and I got into my car, and I was going to see a girl. 17 years old, and I was driving pretty fast, and I came over a hill. And when I came over the hill, there was an aunt with 2 daughters, and we hit head on. I was doing 50 miles an hour. 55 is what the Texas State Troopers said that I was doing, and I hit her head on. She was doing 3. The screams that I heard from the young girls that went through the windshield, one of them was trapped underneath the gas pedal. I landed, I was driving an F-150, and it was myself and another friend of mine. I landed in an area where there were 5-year-olds having a birthday party. I could have killed all of them. Didn't wear my seatbelt right. So when I hit her, the steering wheel bent all the way back to the steering column, and I slammed my face up against the steering wheel. The only thing that stopped me from going into the house where these kids were having their birthday party was a butane tank, one of those real big ones. So we hit that, and then all of a sudden I kind of woke up, and all I could hear was gas spewing. So I told my friend, I said, Randy, you got to get out. I can't get out. You got to get out of here. So he got out through a crack. And the only reason why I wasn't doing 88 like I was before I topped that hill, because I'm 17, I'm going to see a girl, not wearing my seatbelt the right way, had it tucked underneath my arm, was that I slowed up to stop and wave at a friend of mine. That friend from a half a mile away caught me as I fell and my leg was broken. Blood streaming from my face. I fell down to the ground. He caught me. They pulled me away. There, by the grace of God, did I not blow up when I hit that propane tank. I should have died. Metal hitting that, we should have exploded. But there was a reason. So as the rehabilitation went on, and I thought I was going to lose my leg, I couldn't do anything. I started drinking. 17 years old. Started drinking alcohol. I'd show up on the sidelines of my crutches and couldn't walk. Atrophy. And I was drunk at my high school football games because, that's what I did. So there were times where I had to go through 2 surgeries. My mom would come in and she would say, it's time to go to physical therapy. And I'd say, no, I'm not going today. And if I didn't go to that physical therapy, I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk today. I couldn't bend. So as I sat there and I thought about killing myself, because I did, I thought about suicide. I would pray. My grandparents would pray for me. We talked about Papa. I decided that I can either stay drunk or I could live up to the responsibility and the leadership of being the president of students of drunk drivers, which I was, and I could stop that and I could do something different with my life. I wasn't going to be able to play football anymore. So what I did do was I put a play together called Addict. And I cast every kid in the high school and I directed that play. I turned my life around. I turned my attitude around, Catherine, because my circumstances dictated that I had to, or I was going to do something that wasn't right. So there's my health story. John had a heart attack. I think that's a little more serious than mine, but that's my story. So have a purpose worth living for. My purpose was that I needed to be around. There was something else in my life that God had planned for me. Sometimes I think it's to be able to stand here and talk to you today. So do work you enjoy. You got to do, you're sitting here and you're talking about, what am I going to do? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? Find the work that you enjoy and that you love, because then it's not work. It's fun. It's something that you want to do. You have the time to find something you're supposed to do and what you want to do that's going to give you enjoyment for the rest of your life. Find your pace. Accept your personal worth. You got to believe in yourself. You're all here for a reason, and you have personal worth. You're God-made. Understand that. There's a purpose for you. So laugh. I love that one. I want to talk about the cookies. I wanted to laugh when he said that. He's going to be back by the cookies. Managing the discipline of health. John says eat right, exercise, handle stress effectively. Family problems. So when you have those family problems, communicate. Unconditional love. Thank goodness for unconditional love from my wife. Time together. Limited options. You got creative thinking, advice from others, tenacity. Staff productivity problems. John talks about immediate confrontation with that person and addressing the issue. Staff leaders with bad attitudes, removal. That's his thought. So every day he will eat low-fat foods and exercise for at least 35 minutes. I guarantee you, I talked to him, he's still working on this one. So when he talked about us last summer, he definitely is still working on that one. So family problems, communication. That's going to be the key, right? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Staff productivity, immediate confrontations. What is it like when you don't confront that individual and you let it fester, you think about it, you stay up late at night? Immediate confrontations with that individual. Hey, I need to talk to you. There's some disconnect. We need to speak. We need to talk. You gave me offense, and we need to talk this through. So really keep that in mind. So family. I heard some of you talking about family. And making the decision to communicate with and care for my family daily. Determine your priorities. Decide on your philosophy. Commitment to God, continual growth, common experiences, confidence in God, ourselves, and others. and develop your problem-solving strategy. So, family, communicate with and care for my family daily. This is a very, very important one to me. I didn't know what it was going to be like being a husband. I had no clue. I certainly didn't know what it was going to be like to be a daddy, to be called a father. I didn't have a father. I didn't meet my father until I was 18. The only person that really taught me how to be a man, to how to be a spiritual warrior, how to be a man, was my grandfather. And now I don't have that individual to talk to. And so when I'm confronted, when my sons are going through their spiritual warfare, boy, I hit my knees and I pray. Because family is important. So really think about that. Determine your priorities. What is your priorities? I'm at work last week. I got a long day ahead of me, 15 hours. Son's got a tournament in baseball. Oh, I'm taking a 3-hour lunch. I have that option. I have that ability, thank God. But he's important. I've got to make him my priority. Because once it's all said and done and I'm on my deathbed, you think I'm going to worry about work? No, I'm going to worry about how I raised my son. So decide on your philosophy. What is your commitment to God? If you're married, you definitely need to sit down, or if you have a significant other, you need to sit down and you need to be on the same team, right? You need to make sure that you're committed to God. And what is your commitment? And are you talking the same values? Are you talking the same thing? Continual growth. You're doing that tonight. We've talked a little bit about that. You have to continue to grow. There's great colleges out there that you can go to. You can audit classes. There's great things that they're offering here at Elmbrook that you need to get into. You need to tell your friends, how are you going to grow? Find a grow partner. Find someone that you can be with. Common experiences. And what common experiences do you have with the family? One of the things I think is really interesting about that, we'll get into the management of it. Confidence in God, ourselves, and others. So what is your confidence with yourself, and what is your confidence in others? I'm very confident in my wife. I look to her for solace. Tonight she prayed. She put her hand on my head and she said, you're going to do great things tonight. Well, we'll decide that later if I did or not, right? But she's there. I have confidence in her. I have confidence in her connection to God. A lot more powerful than mine. Develop your problem-solving strategies. When you're confronted with a problem and you don't know how to solve that problem, you need to decide that before you get into that problem. How are you going to solve problems? Are you going to run away from it? Are you going to confront it? Are you going to find counsel in someone else that's going to be able to help you with that? How do you solve problems? You're going to have to ask yourself that. Make that decision. So, how do you manage it? Put your family first on your calendar. Create and maintain family traditions. Find ways to spend time together. Significant events, birthdays, baseball games. Significant needs. You cannot put a family's crisis on hold. One-on-one time. Nothing lets another person know that you care more than your undivided attention. Keep your marriage healthy first. Men, women, I'm talking to you. Keep your marriage healthy first. Express appreciation for each other and resolve conflict as quickly as possible. 2 things I want to talk about on this one. Create and maintain family traditions and put your family first on your calendar. You have to put your family first. When you're laying out your plan for the month, what's going on with the family? My wife has got a calendar that I can't even figure out. She doesn't do all these PDAs. She doesn't do the smartphone. She has this old-fashioned calendar. And if stuff gets marked off, she marks it off. But she knows what's going on. And it always says the family first. Put your family first. Everything else can come second. So, create and maintain family traditions. What do you do as a family that's going to create memories? One of the things we like to do is go to the Dells every summer. And it's always a toss-up of where we're going. Are we going to go to the Great Wolf Lodge? Or are we going to go to the Kalahari? Guess what? We went to the Great Wolf Lodge. We didn't like it. We go back to the Kalahari because it's a lot of fun. But every summer we do something. There's pictures. There's a tradition. So maybe years from now when I'm dead and in the ground, those kids will go to the Wisconsin Dells and they'll think about all the memories that we created. Create traditions. Keep your marriage healthy first. I like to say if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So think about that. However that works for you and your family unit. There's great things here. I will tell you that when Deb and I got married, we got married first, and then we went to marriage counsel at Elmbrook. And Roger and Rose Rand, when they were here, who are great mentors and that I still talk to this day, They were like, hey, I don't know that this is even legal in the church, that you can be here, you're already married. But we went to one before, and then we came back after we were married because there were great things. Find marriage retreats that you can go to. Talk to each other, marriage ministry, whatever you can do. Elmbrook has a very strong one here. So every day I work hard in gaining the love and respect of those closest to me. Thinking. This is a fun one. So thinking, practice and develop good thinking daily. So what's going to be the decision to practice and develop good thinking? For John, it was to understand that great thinking comes from good thinking. Recognize that there are many types of thinking. I don't know, maybe the first time you've looked at those, but big picture thinking, focused thinking, creative thinking, realistic thinking, reflective thinking. And then maximize your strengths and staff your weaknesses. So the one I want to talk about here is understanding that great thinking comes from good thinking. I come up with some of the greatest ideas in the shower. I had a great one tonight when I showered to come here. Now the deal is, when I think about it and I start to towel off, I forget that thing. So when do you do your best thinking? Where do you do your best thinking? What are you thinking about? So think about where you're going to think. And then what types of thinking are you thinking? Is it big picture? Do you have goals set for you? Where am I going to be in 30 days? Where am I going to be in 60 days? Where am I going to be in 90? Or is it a 1, 3, 5 year? Big picture thinking. Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? How do you manage that? You find a place to think. Set aside time every day. Find a process that works for you. Capture your thoughts and put your thoughts into action quickly. Try to improve your thinking every day. Focus on the positive. Gather good input and spend time with good thinkers. So if we look at the two here, find a process that works for you. Sometimes it's individuals that sit down and they doodle. My grandmother, when she's sitting at the table, she doodles. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, oh, I'm thinking. She says thinking, not thinking, because she's from Texas. But she's, I'm thinking. So how do you do it? Do you listen to music? Do you need time to go into a room? Or do you read? Do you think when you read? How does it work for you? Make that decision on how it works for you. And then two of the things I think are most important is put your thoughts into action quickly and capture your thoughts. So capture your thoughts. I tell you, when I'm toweling off and I forget, because I start looking at, man, I need to pluck that ear hair or whatever, what's going on with this eyebrow? That wasn't doing that last week. I forget that great thought that I had in the shower. I sing in the shower, I pray in the shower, I hum in the shower, and I go, ooh, that's a great idea. I should write that down. I probably should get some kind of waterproof tablet to put in there. But capture that. Get to it, write it down. Whatever works for you, record it. Do whatever it needs to do. And then put it into action quickly, because you're going to forget it. Every day I will set aside a time to think, and I will determine to think the right things. Commitment. Making the decision to make and keep proper commitments daily. Count the cost, determine to pay the price, always strive for excellence. So John says, commitment, make and keep proper commitments daily. The one here that I think is really important for us to really take a look at is count the cost. You're committed to it. Are you all in? What's the cost? What is going to be the sacrifices? So when you're committed to something and you're making this decision now, when I say that I'm going to be committed to something, what is it going to cost me? What am I going to have to sacrifice? Am I going to have to sacrifice one of my priorities? Because then maybe it's not worth the cost. So think about that. So managing the discipline of commitment. Expect commitment to be a struggle. Do not rely on talent alone. Focus on choices, not conditions. Be single-minded and do what is right even when you do not feel like it. So do not rely on talent alone when you're making a commitment. And talent's not going to get you everything. You got to have all those other attributes with it. You may be talented in certain area, but there are going to be other things that you're going to have to bring to the table other than your talents. Focus on choices and not conditions. You know, there's going to be things that you want to commit to that conditions are going to be grim. You're really not going to want to do it. But what is the choice? Is the choice going to get me somewhere? Is there going to be that payoff? Is there going to be that reward? So what is going to be your commitment is based on choice, not conditions. So every day I will renew my commitment and think about the benefits that will come from it. So at nighttime, or whenever you're sitting down, you're thinking about it, you're going to renew your commitment and you're going to think about the benefits that will come from it. If I'm committed, what am I going to get out of it? Finances. All right, here you go, Tom. So finances, making the decision to earn properly managed finances daily. I'm going to tell you what, this is a struggle for all men, right? Because it's very difficult. There's a lot of weight. There's a lot of worry. Am I providing enough? Am I going to be able to provide? It's very difficult. And I understand that. As a man, I understand where you're coming from. As a woman that is the sole provider or that's bringing in the money for an individual that may be struggling right now, I understand that. It's very, very difficult. Unconditional love, prayer, faith, those are going to be the things that get you through this. Counsel from others, finding that individual that you can talk to. So finances, put the value of things into perspective, especially now, right? When you're struggling, you're at a crossroads and you don't know what's going on. What are the priorities? I can guarantee you my priority was to kick that DVR off and that AT&T. You know, I don't have it anymore. I don't need to see all those channels. I don't need to pay that extra money. That was one of the sacrifices that I made. Netflix is pretty fun. So, am I preoccupied with things? Am I envious of others? Do I find my personal values in possessions? And do I believe that money will make me happy? And do I continually want more? Those are some of the questions that you ask yourself. So the two that I want to talk about here is, do I believe that money will make me happy? No, I don't believe money is going to make you happy. Is it going to take care of your needs? And God says that He will provide for your needs. And He will. My grandmother can give you a lot of testimony about that. Money's not going to make you happy. So don't search for that in order. If I get this amount of money, it's going to make me happy. But you do need to have money in order to provide for the necessities. Do I continually want more? Well, what is it that you want more for? And why do you want more for? Is it so you can take a vacation? Or is it so you can pay for cello lessons or swim lessons? What do you want the money for? Ask yourself those questions and make sure that they're rooted within your values and your priorities. So recognize your season of life. This is pretty interesting. Am I a learner? Am I an earner? Or is it time for me to give back? So am I still learning how to make money? Am I earning the money now? And then at that time when it's time to give back, am I a giver? So 3 seasons. Where are you at in that? And when you are in that, what are you going to do with it? That's another decision. So reduce your debt. Yeah, this one right here is, definitely talking to me. Stop incurring debt, track your cash, plan for the future, and do not expect miracles. Seek professional help. There's some great guidance and counselors here at this church that will be able to help you with that if you need it. So finances, how do you manage those? Become a good earner, be grateful for every day, and do not compare yourself to others, and give as much as you can. I think that's pretty simplistic. We will sacrifice so that we can have options tomorrow. John and then Dave Ramsey, what am I willing to give up today in order to have a better tomorrow? There's another great Money Matters that you can take a look at is Dave Ramsey. Faith, probably my favorite one. So deepen and live out my faith daily. Making the decision to deepen and live out my faith. We already have faith. The important choice is where we place it. Understand that faith is often birthed out of difficulties, and a faith that has not been tested cannot be trusted. I love the story of the individual that he's in the car wreck and he's going down this mountain and he gets catapulted out of the car, and all of a sudden he's hanging on the tree limb and he starts crying out, "Hey, can anybody help me? Please, somebody help me." And all of a sudden there's this big voice that says, "Yes, I can help you. I hear you. Who is this?" And the big voice says, "It's God." And he says, "Do you believe in me?" And the man says, "Well, yes, I believe." And he says, "Then let go of the tree." "Hey, is there anybody else out there?" You trust in God. Have faith in God. God's going to pull you through. Have faith. It may not happen today, even though today matters. It may not happen tomorrow, but pray and it will happen. Understand that faith is often birthed out of difficulties. I think I'm probably talking to the individuals that understand that right now. But now's the time that you lean on your faith. You get in your Bible. You talk to your counselors. You get with your friends. You'll find it if you seek it. So how do you manage that? Embrace the value of faith. Put God in the picture. Associate with people of faith and express and deepen your faith. You know, if you don't put God first, you don't put God in the picture, you're not going to get to where you want to be. I'm not here to preach to you, but I will tell you through my experiences and through John's experiences, he was a pastor first before he became a leadership guru. If you put God first and you seek, you will find it. So every day to live and lead like Jesus. Relationships. Well, that's a difficult one when you're going through what you're going through, right? Making the decision to initiate and invest in solid relationships. Place a high value on people. Learn to understand people. So when people are insecure, you got to give them confidence. When people want to feel special, you sincerely compliment them. People want to be understood, listen to them. Give respect freely, but expect to earn it from others. Commit yourself to adding value to others. So the two that I'm going to talk about here is give respect freely, but expect to earn it from others. How many times do you feel like you've been disrespected? And how does that make you feel? That person doesn't give me respect. And as a man, supposedly that's one of our biggest things is I want respect. It's difficult in these times to feel like that you get respect from where you're at. But also understand that you have to give respect in order to get respect. Titles don't earn you respect. Just because you have a title or just because you're dad or just because you're some leader in some corporation doesn't give you the respect that you're supposed to have. You have to earn it. And in order to get it, you have to give it. Commit yourself to adding value to others. That to me is probably one of the most important one. You know, take it off yourself. Add value to someone else, and you're going to get value in return. You know, my deal is, what can I do to help you in order to get to where you want to be? Because then I'm going to get what I want out of it. That's placing value to someone else. If I can get you to where you want to be, or what you want to do, then I'll get what I want. That's the way it works. So initiate and invest in solid relationships daily. So how do you manage it? Put others first. Don't be so selfish. Put them first. Do not carry emotional baggage. Give time to your most valuable relationships. Serve others gladly and express love and appreciation only. This one's kind of a touchy one, right? What do you mean don't carry emotional baggage? We all got emotional baggage. Nobody wants to hear it in the real world, right? You go into a job, nobody wants to hear about your emotional baggage. Nobody wants to hear it. I know that's harsh. So what you do is you find somebody that does want to hear it. Find that person that you can talk to that can help you through what you're going through. So when you're placed in those situations, you're ready. You have fresh emotions. You have excited emotions. You have empowered emotions. So you can get where you want to be. Every day I make the conscious effort to deposit goodwill into my relationship with others. Generosity. Making the decision to plan and model generosity daily. Generosity is plan for and model generosity daily. Give others your money and give others yourself. There's only 2 points on here because we're talking about giving people money. So that's kind of a difficult deal. So give others your money. Again, about not preaching to you, but tithing is one of the most important things that you can do to give back to your church, to give back to individuals that need, and you'll see it come back. So that's one of the things that he's talking about here. And then give others yourself. Very important that you give dedicated time, uninterrupted time. Turn your phones off, turn the game off, turn the TV off, and give others your time because time is precious. How are you going to spend that quarter? So manage the discipline of generosity. Value people every day. So value, what does that mean? It means treating everyone with respect. We've talked about that. Know what others value means listening and seeking to understand others. So if I'm with an individual, how am I going to understand them? Where are they coming from? What are they bringing to the table? So how am I going to decide that? Make self more valuable means grow in order to give, because I cannot give what I do not possess. I think that's very important, right? Continue to grow every single day. Where do I want to be? How am I going to get there? And what's going to happen to me once I get there? Do things God values. Since He conditionally loves people, so must I. Do not wait for prosperity to be generous, and find a reason to give every day, and find people to receive every day. That one for me is probably number 3, find a reason to give every day, and find that people to receive it. I do that every single day. I'm like, okay, what can I do for someone today? How can I help someone get to where they want to be? So every day I will add value to others. So values. Making the decision to embrace and practice good values daily. Create a list of good values, embrace those good values, and make a decision to live those values daily. This is going to be different. If we were to sit here and do a poll around the whole table, what are your values? I mean, what do you truly stand for? And do you even know what a value is? You have to decide what that value is going to be. What do you stand for? What are you not willing to compromise? What would you die for? So think about those values, and then make a list of those, and then embrace those. Embrace and practice good values daily. Embrace and practice good values daily. Managing the discipline of values. Articulate and embrace your values daily. Compare your values to your practice daily, and live out your values regardless of your feelings. Evaluate each day in light of your values. So right here, if you take a look at it, live out your values regardless of your feelings. There's going to be time that you don't feel like living out your values because you're not agreeing with it. You have a confrontation with it, or you're conflicted with it. But if you have that values and you make that decision that this is going to be your values, then you have to manage it. So honesty. You're in a workplace. Boss is a thief. If you turn him in, there may be repercussions of that, and you may get fired. Boy, that's tough, right? Do I turn this individual in, and possibly somehow it gets turned back on me, but I'm trustworthy, I'm honest? You got to make that decision. Where do you lie? Where's your values? Think about it. So every day I review and reflect on my values. Last one, growth. Making the decision to seek and experience growth daily. So, answer the question, what is my potential? Only you know what your potential is. Everyone at this table is going to tell you that they see potential in you once they get to know you. But what is your potential? You know what the answer is to that? It's unlimited. You can do whatever you want to do. You got to go after it. Oh, Chad, but my conditions, my circumstances. Yeah, I understand it. What do you want to do? You can do anything that you want to do. Go for it. Make a commitment to change. Set growth goals. Learn to enjoy the journey. Put yourself in growth environment. You're doing that right now. You're in a growth environment. You're learning something today. It's what you do with it and how you manage it in order to get you to where you want to be. The one I think here is learn to enjoy the journey. It's a roller coaster. It's got peaks and valleys. Life's got peaks and valleys. There are things that happen to us that are beyond our control. There's unforeseen circumstances. How you react to it, how you respond to it, that's what's going to make it the journey that it's going to be. Where am I? Where am I going? And how am I going to get there? It's up to you. And what's great about it is it's moment to moment. You get to fulfill that moment. Moment to moment. If you were to sit back and think about what you did today at 7 o'clock until now, you did a lot of stuff, right? So within an hour, there's a lot that you can accomplish if you take it moment by moment. So put yourself in growth environments. You're already there. So growth is seek and experience improvements daily. So if you're still playing that game, it's seek and experience improvement daily. So managing the discipline of growth. Make it your goal to grow in some way every day. Have a time and place to grow. I listen to audio lessons every week. He reads 2 books. He sets appointments every month and file what you learn. So the biggest thing here I want you to remember is apply what you've learned. So use that ACT. So when you start doing these things, you're listening, you're reading books. How many books you got in your repertoire right now? Anybody got more than 2 that you're reading right now? How to Improve My Life, yeah, I see the hands, how to do things. Hopefully what you'll use is that ACT formula. So what am I going to do that I apply? What am I going to change in my life? And then more importantly, what am I going to teach others? So what statement can I apply? What do I need to change? And then what can I teach others? So every day I will grow on purpose with my plan. So the question is, what does your masterpiece look like? You don't know yet, but you're the artist. You've got the paintbrush, you have the paints. You get to decide what it looks like. So how do you do that? Determine what 12 decisions are important to you out of the ones that we just talked about. Begin working on those decisions. Start with 1 a month. I know it's overwhelming. The biggest thing is you have to make a decision. 1 decision, 1 month, and then manage it daily. If you want to do 2 or 3, then do whatever you need to do. So today does really matter. By making today great, you can make your life great, because when you take care of today, tomorrow's going to take care of itself. If you make that decision today and you manage it today and tomorrow, today will matter. And that's it. There's my contact information. Chad Phillips at johnmaxwellgroup.com. johnmaxwellgroup.com there. If you go to that and you come and you visit that site, there's a free gift for you. That gift is John giving you daily Maxwell minutes. So please visit that johnmaxwellgroup.com/Chad Phillips and sign up. And every morning at 3 o'clock, he makes today matter, because he picks a word and he gives you 1 minute with him, and he gives you your own personal coaching, and it's free. It's not some